Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Oh my gosh. Let's do this. Here we are, soaking wet, smelling like whiskey, and I got to drive home later, so no more whiskey for me.
I will say, in my head, I was going to actually get it in the glass.
You didn't get hardly any in
Matt
there.
Porter taught me, and I thought I remembered.
All right, we got some whiskey news for you. We're going to get right to it.
Yeah, baby.
All the news you can use to make an informed drinking decision.
It's not a good idea.
It's not good. I'm going to keep doing it till it works. Okay. So this one comes out of the Lexington Herald Leader. There was a big conference. It's the Jim B. Beam Institute Industry Conference at University of Kentucky. Jim B. Beam Institute is the distilling school at University of Kentucky. It's a unique thing. It's one of a kind as far as I know.
And I believe the Tennessee version is actually at MTSU, because a lot of the Jack Daniels people would go there, and I think the assistant, the master distiller, came out of that program.
Well, we'd have to look it up. We'd have to check our facts. Okay. So what we've got here, though, is bourbon makers say they've caught up with demand, but they need to get rid of these tariffs.
Yeah. No, we don't need to get rid of bottles. We need to get rid of the tariffs.
Yeah. Which,
by the way, haven't even affected anything as of in Canada, they have pulled from the shelves.
Some.
So,
but all the stuff they pulled from the shelves was already purchased by Canada. So they're the only ones suffering from that.
Right.
It's a bad economic
bunch of lawmakers getting hammered on American whiskey.
So the heads of Jim Beam, Evan Williams, and Jack Daniels, so people from Brown-Forman, Heaven Hill, and Suntory, spoke over this week at the industry conference. And they said there's not a whiskey glut. They all agreed on this, but they said that tariffs are a big hindrance to them moving more barrels. So it's not all of a sudden that we have too much here. It's just that we can't sell it everywhere. And they weren't necessarily just talking about the proposed tariffs, which wouldn't happen until April.
Yeah.
They're talking about ones that we've already mentioned actually on this show to some degree. And those are some that are in countries in Asia, in different parts of the world than we're so focused on here on American news per se. Yeah. But apparently,
I will say this, there's going to be a contradiction to that mentality of the tariffs within the whiskey industry. And we're going to get to that in just a second, but I wanted to tease it a little bit.
But India is the world's biggest whiskey market. And we talked about...
big country.
We talked about India with having, one of the largest populations in the world a few weeks ago when we were talking about they were lowering some of their tariffs, but we were wondering how big of a market is there for American whiskey. Not very much. However, 95% of the spirits consumed in India are actually whiskey-type products, whether it be single malts or things of that nature. They are aged spirits. They're not they're not a big vodka tequila country.
But it's not bourbon.
It's not bourbon. There's not a ton of bourbon in their marketplace, partially because they have high tariffs. They have what was 150% tariff on American spirits. They've now dropped down to 100.
Yeah.
So they're showing a good faith measure there.
Praise the Lord.
One of the biggest marketplaces to sell our whiskey actually isn't selling very much of American whiskey because of situations like that. So the fact that they don't have a huge exposure to American products and I would assume probably of the American products that are selling there, the biggest would be something like Jack Daniels, just because of its market impact around the world in its branding.
It's familiar to them.
Right. But so that is a very interesting thing. So the fact that there's retaliatory tariffs that are potential in April would exacerbate that where they've met demand. But it's interesting to me that that's what gets all the attention instead of them lobbying, trying to figure out a way to actually decrease tariffs to some of these other marketplaces. And I find it also interesting with India because with all of the geopolitical tension between the U.S. president and world leaders in Europe, in Canada, South America, one country that seems to have relatively good relationship with President Trump is the Prime Minister of India, Modi. And so
you got to think
it could be a big opportunity, one, for him to save face in some way with all of the retaliatory tariffs in Europe and Canada and say, look, but I got this down to like say 25% and open up the floodgates to India.
Yeah.
People would forget about France and Luxembourg not buying enough American
We forgot
whiskey.
about him in the Revolutionary War.
I mean, yeah.
You know, I will say,
Darn right.
yeah, the market is there. And I think it was in good faith of the India market lowering those tariffs amidst all this other drama with the tariffs coming on board.
Right.
It's almost like, the relationship there with the prime minister is pretty solid to the point of they're not staying where they are. They're actually getting better towards the United States in this regard. And I mean, you also got to think that for the economy,
Right.
if Bourbon swoops in and starts, manhandling the market a little more, that could be really good for everybody.
So I think that is interesting that, one, at a time where there's definitely weakening demand here in the United States, and there is that looming fear of higher tariffs from countries that there already is some market saturation of American whiskey, that I feel like there's big opportunities like to really open the door to big new markets if those kind of things could be negotiated out. And
and even other
dropping
goods,
it
like
50
all goods.
Right. Vehicles, like everything. India has some of the highest tariffs on American products of anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And yet the relationship diplomatically seems to be relatively good. You'd think that maybe we could do something about that.
We could. Mm-hmm. We can. I can't. We could change.org it.
Yeah.
Make somebody respond.
Right. But speaking of those tariffs, a buddy of ours, Andrew, showed us, he sent in some images.
Andrew West, you're amazing, by the way.
From one of the Canadian provinces, and now a lot of people have seen similar type images now of the American products being pulled from shelves. I do believe in the photo he showed us, there were still some American products on the shelves. I don't know if that was like they didn't realize or it just wasn't the big names they were thinking. I think I still saw a Midwinter Night's Dram still on the shelf. And it's like,
that's poetry,
Yeah, but it's coming. It's Utah. Come on now.
Which is arguably the most American state.
Well, I don't know. I could argue.
I
could argue it.
No, hang on. It's the most Canadian state.
Oh,
Utah,
Vermont. Come on now. Vermont's probably like Whistle Pig. I understand if they're like we're going to still sell Whistle Pig.
Yeah,
that
I don't know. Utah feels
butt to snout or
Canadian
whatever.
Me.
Yeah.
They're nice over there.
Yeah,
they're nice. Dude, you want to know the first thing that I thought about when you said that they left some American whiskeys on there?
What?
I was like, how did they mess that up? Just pull all the ones with English writing on it.
Oh my gosh.
And then I was like, oh no.
Yeah,
Canadians.
Well, unless you're in Quebec.
French? They speak
Yeah,
French?
you don't know this?
No.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, they have 2 official languages in Canada.
Okay,
French
but they
and
all
English.
have to know both.
Allegedly. They're taught both. I think most people.
Listen, I think English should be taught in every
Quebec.
school across the world.
Okay.
That's what I feel.
Yeah. All
Because
right.
listen, if I'm on a vacation somewhere, I need to be able to communicate. Although the phone right now is a pretty good option. You can just tell Siri, like, listen, here's the situation I am in.
You know,
I need to pee real bad.
How
do I ask somebody?
When we went to Korea a while back, and now it's not as necessary because you can use Google Translate and even the Apple Translate app, you can do it in real time. But they had a hotline the government had set up, and they actually set it up for the Olympics. But you could call it, and a lot of people at least can converse a little bit in English, but one of the jobs that didn't speak like any at all, and almost like as like we're standing firm, were taxi drivers. And so they wouldn't speak any English, but they were still friendly, but they you'd have to kind of figure it out or have it written or point on a map. But they also had a government hotline you could call.
Just put it on speakerphone.
You pick it up and you say, "Hey, here's where I'm trying to go," and they go, "Okay, hand the phone to the driver." Hand it to him. They would tell him, and he'd go, "Okay," and you'd go. So that was kind of a cool.
Dude, technology's amazing.
But they also had they had free Wi-Fi in the city,
just like a mesh network.
Yeah, it was just Wi-Fi everywhere. So you could use you didn't even have to have like eSIM or anything.
Okay,
or international plan. You could
check your Facebook page.
Oh yeah, update.
Who uses Facebook?
Update that status. But one other thing that our buddy told us was that while the government-owned stores, which I think are the majority, and I think it varies from province to province, kind of like American states, but the majority are state-owned entities. But there are, at least where our buddy lives, there are some private entities that are private liquor stores. They could still wholesale order some American whiskey products. So it wasn't a complete ban, per se. It was just that the government stores themselves had pulled
it's
it
not
from
like
shelves.
the border is stopping them at the gate. You know, they're still able to distribute into Canada.
Yeah.
But
and that's as of right now.
low.
We'll see what happens
That's fair.
In a couple weeks when things roll around. But hey, they got a new prime minister, so we'll see what happens up there.
Yeah, he was real feisty at first, and now he's like, I didn't mean all that.
No, you're thinking of one of the leaders of one of the provinces.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all the.
Yeah. That
I mean, listen.
That's the guy whose brother got in trouble for doing cocaine and doing a press conference in front of his house.
Oh, okay.
Ford, I think, is his last name.
Oh, okay, so
wait,
hang on. When he did the interview in front of his house, was he on cocaine?
Pretty sure. It was a fantastic little moment in geopolitics.
We had an interview from somebody in government on the front lawn of somebody that came to Whiskey Weekend and was wearing the shirt, and our shirt made the news.
It's true. All right. Next thing we've got going on. This is we've got a really fun one. These are all doom and gloom because that's kind of the state of whiskey right now. but
we're all dying.
This is Green River Distilling is cutting a quarter of its jobs. So over 25%, under 30%, but it's 26 roles being eliminated at the distillery. They're owned now by Bardstown Bourbon Company. They were bought in 2022. But their reason...
Which is already in the contract distilling game.
Sure.
Yeah.
But they're saying... Which I love the Green River Rye. I love their products.
The barrel proof for $40?
Delicious.
Yeah. I really hope that this correction by them puts them in a really good spot to continue to do what they do because their economic price point is basic. It's sick. It's awesome.
Yeah, so their downsize is to meet the current demands as it scales down to a single production shift.
Well, it's got to be the tariffs, right, Will?
No, not the tariffs, they say. I like how you did that, Grease.
What is it?
They said the market correction that our industry is going through has been well publicized, and unfortunately, we aren't immune to it. While our own brands are healthy and growing, a number of customers in our contract business are struggling. So,
now I have a
contract
question.
Distilling is obviously not the business. We've talked about how barrels are now sitting on shelves that are less than half the price they were a couple years ago. So I think that is what you're gonna see. A lot of people whose jobs were added to these distilleries to support the contract distilling side are going to go away because the customers they were servicing are no longer going to exist.
Right. And why is this smaller distillery important? Because I think it puts into light that the effect is happening. And it makes me actually want to know your opinion, Will, on somebody or a distillery that I also kind of put in the same vein as Green River is the Barton Distillery, which is owned by Buffalo Trace.
Different, larger.
It's way larger, but I mean, like a lot of the Barton line stuff is contract distilling. They've been doing it for so long.
Barton definitely sells barrels to third parties, whereas that's not done at their sister distillery, Buffalo Trace.
Right.
So much larger scale.
Who's next?
Yeah,
that was the question that kept popping.
That is that's a very astute question of yours, Grease. I could see an announcement of some sort like that with Barton, unless Sazerac is just so flush with cash right now, and we saw that kind of middle finger statement about them completing their expansion that we're good,
1.2 billion,
something like that over 10 years. So I mean, maybe they are so flush with cash and have done so well managing it despite all the criticism of marketing practices and things that they don't have to find cuts at distilleries. But I think if you were to see Sazerac make cuts, a place that would happen would be a place like Barton, because the 1792 products are great. Like I love them, but they definitely are second fiddle to the big brother up the road
for sure
in Frankfurt at Buffalo Trace. So I
Barton
can't imagine
products
the demand is as high.
On the retail side, Barton products aren't everywhere. Like you see like a flush of like 1792 full proofs and stuff like that, or like the bottled and bond picks. When's the last time in our area you have seen those picks come out? It's been a long time.
Yeah, I've seen full proof a few times,
a couple of times here and there, yes, for sure.
But
the bottled and bond single barrel products I was really excited about, which by the way, they're freaking tasty. That was 4 years ago.
Yeah,
something like that.
That's true.
And I haven't seen them.
That's true. But also, you don't go into liquor stores that often anymore.
I don't.
Your sample size is small.
I have gone in way more recently. I really got a bad taste in my mouth for a couple of years there. Number one, I just needed to cut back for, just myself. But going back into liquor stores now, there's kind of like this like fun community buzz right now.
Okay.
Like it's got this thing, like it's charming to me again.
Okay.
Because I don't necessarily want to go into a liquor store, go up and down the line and like, okay, they don't have anything. Let me grab this bottle of 10 high so I get out of here super cheap. You know what I mean? Like that process doesn't really exist for me.
You would do that.
I like to get, I know I feel guilty every time, but I love the stores like especially, I mean, Elixir, obviously every time you walk in there, there's people in there that appreciate what's going on. Teddick is doing, some tastings and pouring some things for people. Try this out. He let me try a freaking, what was that? 15, 16-year-old, 157 proof whiskey, which by the way was pretty daggum good. Yeah, I'm gonna say it.
I get that.
But
it was a single malt, right?
Yeah, it was a single malt
or a malt whiskey.
Maybe
not a single malt.
Yeah, I don't actually think it was a single malt. You're right. It was a malt whiskey, but it was, and I don't necessarily love that flavor profile. I don't gravitate towards that. I'm a tried and true bourbon rye guy, and it was enjoyable. I had a good time. Heard about the whiskey, heard about what he's doing, and all this other stuff. But yeah, I don't make it to liquor stores as often as I used to because of that bad taste, because of relationships not being as solid as they used to be, and some other things like that. But I do get the sense that the charm, in some ways, for me, in my opinion, is coming back.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of enthusiasts have realized that this game is in turmoil. Yeah. And the only way for them to really enjoy it is on the community aspect of it. Mm-hmm. And, there was a huge, maybe 80% of people bourbon enthusiasts were just all about getting that bottle.
Right.
Like, yeah, I got the bottle. Look at me. I've got the bottle. It doesn't matter how much you paid for it. He got it. And then it kind of wore out the common enthusiasts that really appreciated the product, and we built communities around that. It kind of led them into a bad taste.
Right.
And now it's kind of coming back around. And I think, groups like that we're a part of with the Founders Club, it's Tiny Irwin with Southern Whiskey Society. He's kind of put these things in place. And a lot of the, I don't love Facebook group communities. Like that's kind of vanilla to me, but like offering experiences and getting together. I mean, like even the fact that in that founders group that we're a part of with Southern Whiskey Society, it's like, hey, I'm at a bar right now. Anybody want to come and join me? Hey, I'm going to be in Franklin for dinner. Anybody want to hook up, like do all that. So the charm is coming back for me.
Yeah. The camaraderie, the community, which we
and I care about these people again, Will.
Yeah.
Like,
but there was a minute you didn't care about anybody.
I didn't.
All right, so we got another news story.
Man.
We got another news story. This is another one out of the James B. Beam Institute for Kentucky Spirits.
Everybody pay attention because this is the most incredible thing
I love this.
that you will see on WhiskeyTube, because I don't know. I mean, I feel like a lot of people won't necessarily be like, oh, I need to talk about that.
I love it. I think it's incredible.
I love it.
So as we mentioned, this is at University of Kentucky. It's called the world's largest teaching distillery. So it's a program at University of Kentucky. And there is a class called Commercialization of Distilled Spirits. And I would love to take that class. I actually want to go back to school at the KBBI just to get a little degree in distilling sciences. This sounds incredible.
Yeah.
But so this is a class through their distillation, wine, and brewing certificate program. And what they have done is a class project. And this is the first ever student-created bourbon brand.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So the people that are in the class, Commercialization of Distilled Spirits, have created a blend. And the blend consists of 8-year-old 13% rye bourbon that Freddie No contributed. 35%, that's 35% of the blend. 5-year-old 20% wheat bourbon makes up another 35%. So it's already it's a 4-grain. And then 4.5-year-old 39% wheat bourbon. So high wheat in that one is the final 30% of the blend, and that is from private stock of Bardstown Bourbon Company distillate.
Which one? Super cool of all those distilleries to like show up in that way and like donate. However, there's only 2,500 bottles of this.
Yeah, 2,500 bottles. It'll be 100 proof, this 2025 release. It is $54.99. There's no information that I've seen thus far about how it'll be distributed or where it will.
My
I take that back.
Is Kentucky
I take it back. It'll be available on site at the University of Kentucky through the JBBI. There's a pre-sale that's going on at the industry conference right now where people can reserve a bottle. But there will be a launch event on campus to celebrate the inaugural bourbon release where bottles will be available. The name of it alone is incredible. It's called the Kentucky Wild Cask Bourbon, which is so near and dear to our hearts because we love a good pun.
We do.
So the PodCask, they may have stolen it from us.
We don't know Jack, but we'll drink it a pun.
Yes,
it's
a
like
play on words.
It's a long pun.
Yeah, it's a play on words.
Is that what long puns are?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but I love this. Cool. I mean, like some of the speakers at this class have been Dixon Dedmon, Freddie No. We've had Keisha Raspberry, who is a UK Distinguished Young Alumni recipient, and Tamarena Tequila, Chief Financial Officer.
Wait, her last name's Tequila?
No, her last name is Raspberry. Keisha Raspberry.
Okay, so who's Tequila?
She's the CFO of Tamarena Tequila.
Got it. I thought you said Tamra Weird.
Tamra.
I thought
Tamra
you just
Tequila.
said Tamra Tequila. Weird.
Bardstown Bourbon Company's vice president of hospitality and product development. So this is a really
A lot
cool
of key
course,
industry people,
but
especially with Dixon being the blender that he is.
And they talked about blending. Now the proceeds of this I also think is cool because it is gonna raise money for the Institute. It'll go back to scholarships, research, and programming at the Institute. So for a good cause, a really cool thing. It's an inaugural release. I hope that that's a class project that continues because that is fun. That is super cool.
Well, you can do batch 1. You can do batch 2.
Right.
You can do
or you do class of 2025, class of 2026.
Yeah, 2020, class of 2026 limited release.
Yeah. So that's
reserve.
That's a
reserve.
Really
You got to throw reserve in.
Yeah, that's a fun release. Like we talk
good.
about new releases all the time. This is extremely unique. The Kentucky Wild Cask Bourbon.
The price point is so approachable.
Yeah, well, and you'd also think they could have made it $150.
100% they could, and it would sell.
Say, we're raising money for the school, or they could even be like, the cost of goods for this is $50, and you get $100 write off for a donation to the university. Like there are so many ways. I feel like, but I like that it's $54, and they're gonna move 2,500 bottles and raise some money for a cool program that's going to continue the legacy and the spirit industry for generations to come.
Can you imagine some chunky people just showing up on campus, just waiting in line to get this thing? And we're all like 50, 60, 70 years old. And all the college students are like, what is happening? This is
people camping out.
We do this occasionally.
Yeah.
We just happened to do it at the University of Kentucky.
I want to know more about too, because if it's I want to know more about this. Like, I love that this is just a write-up on it, but I want to know about the coursework and the directives of the class project. Like,
dude, we should go visit
the marketing
Casey
of it
and see if we can get interviews.
Things. Yeah, I mean, you easily could, but I want to talk to Herb Henneman, who's the honorary professor and industry veteran, and talk to him about, what did you give them? Did you make them learn the TTB process? Did you make them design the label? Did you go through, like, how much of the
Are they doing the
commercialization-
marketing around it? Are they doing was there a marketing team that came up with a name? I don't know. There's so many cool things. And like, these kids are young and they're being exposed, and like, what a cool real life in that industry application.
Sure.
That they get to do. That's so freaking rad. Like when I was at Belmont University, big music school here in Nashville, Tennessee, we started our own student-led record label. And we signed a few bands, and like we were doing this stuff, and we had these big projects where we had to do these marketing campaigns and stuff like that. It was one of my favorite times of being a student in college.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about whiskey. So, like, this is like the mecca of school projects. Like, you're basically telling your college students, because they got to taste it.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? Like,
got to drink it.
What do you think? Is this like a senior?
Well,
like
I feel like they blended it, right? Like,
I know, but like college students aren't necessarily 21.
Well, I mean, this is through
this is education,
and this also says it's through the certificate program for the distillation, wine, and brewing certificate. So some of these people may be people that are going back to school, furthering education,
that's cool.
Things of that nature. So it may not all be like
there was always an old person in our class.
Well,
like every time. And they were all just so like, oh, I get my work done. Why can't you get your work done? I'm like, listen, I'm too busy partying over here. Like, I'm trying to live my best college life.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I get it. You're 40, you're done with kids, your kids are in school right now, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to go back and get
a midlife crisis.
Like, 100% it is, but yeah, they're well positioned to be responsible because, hell, they've been at home taking care of, 2, 3 people that literally need you to protect them and keep them alive.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, you read 10 chapters in the book we were supposed to read, and I only read 1. Like, yes. That's gonna happen.
You actually
quit being pretentious.
Read one?
Well, I will say
this is a hypothetical. Will, it's not gospel.
I will say this: the internet wasn't exactly like on point back then as it is today.
Yeah.
But the teacher and the professors were so stupid. Like, they would give us tests that were online, and all you had to do was literally like Google this test.
Oh man.
And it would come up with a practice test. You do it all on there and you see all the answers, and then you just go on the real test and just.
There was a.
I still got a C in that class.
There was
somehow.
There was a business in Auburn called Tiger Notes, I think is what it was called.
Tiger Notes.
And it was right downtown.
Okay,
right
so you have University in Kentucky. Awesome. Then you have Auburn coming in with something called Tiger Notes.
Okay, first of all, the university had no affiliation with it. So,
okay.
But you'd go and you could buy study guides for courses. You'd give them your course number.
Was it previous students that like took the class?
Oh, yeah.
I've heard about
people that would take the notes and then sell them to Tiger Notes. And then also, most of the time, you tell them what unit or what test number you needed. You could get the whole course. You could break it up by test. And most of
because you know those college professors are like, I'm running this same test for 10 years. I'm not touching
100%. So most of the time, you'd get like either the notes were highlighted, like this is a question on the test, this is a question on the test, or at the end of the note packet, the test would be there. Like it was, there was, I don't know, I've never used it.
The nation's finest are coming out of Auburn. You know what?
They weren't cheap either. Depending on the course and everything, they had a sliding scale of and how detailed the notes were. Sometimes they were like $40.
If you want to C, it's $10. If you want to B, $30.
No, I feel like it's more if it was like engineering class, a little bit more detailed. You know, like
that's
cost
fair.
A little bit more. Like,
That's
but like
a lot.
World History 101 is like 25. You're fine.
Pretty lucrative business too, because I mean you got to think like they've got a decade of information.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry, they've got information that will last a decade of like because they're repeating and they're lazy and all that stuff.
And twice a year, there's whole new batches of people.
100%.
So
yeah, it's a revolving door of clients.
Oh yeah,
that business model is freaking killer.
I think it was called Tiger Notes. It may have been something else. But
I'm gonna say you're gonna go with your gut, and I'm gonna believe your gut on that. Tiger Notes feels right.
Yeah, I think it was called Tiger Notes.
It's not going to be Eagle Notes. That's dumb.
Yeah, I don't remember.
War Notes? No. Damn Notes. That could be good. Is it okay that, like, I mean, how do you feel about, like, Auburn's, like, thing is, like, using the word damn?
For it.
You are? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against it at all. I mean, I say it few times.
Oh no, it was just called University Notes.
University.
That's what it was called. Because you would say, "Hey,
sounds affiliated to me." Will,
do you have the U notes on that? That's what it was called.
The U notes.
Yeah,
not U boats.
No,
completely different thing.
Yeah,
notes.
Yeah, there it is. It was called U notes.
And is it still up and running? There's a Yelp review?
Oh, yeah.
There's a Yelp review on University Notes at Auburn.
Yeah.
Please read a review right now. This has to happen, Will.
Let's see. I'm looking for a review. Oh,
worked out pretty good.
Doesn't seem to be any notes.
It's off the grid. It's the dark web. You got to go to the dark
reviews.
web.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, academic dishonesty. Student policy. Let's see if it talks about U notes.
Oh, yeah.
Examples of academic dishonesty. Sorry guys, this is a rabbit trail, and I'm going to keep following.
And you know what? This show is all about rabbit trails. Okay, all right. I came from a rabbit.
Yeah. You did.
Mm-hmm. All right. Have I ever told you about the story I was conceived?
Yes.
Thanksgiving night.
Right.
On a pull-out couch bed. And my mom's dad comes in.
And actually, a misnomer for that couch bed.
What do you mean a misnomer?
Definitely wasn't a pull-out couch that night.
Oh, misnomer! I love a good misnomer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think my dad told my mom at that point, like, there's no way that we don't have a kid from this, because he was...
Yeah, because they were on the pull-out couch at Thanksgiving, and your granddad walked in.
Right, he was getting a magazine,
looking for a magazine. They were married.
Yeah, they were married.
Right. Yeah.
We're not dealing with premarital anything.
Most people would think that you're kind of a bastard, but you know.
yeah. I mean, I've gone to therapy for that.
The granddad the father walks in looking for a magazine on Thanksgiving night, as you do.
Yeah.
Had to get rid of all that turkey, go sit on the toilet for a minute, and
Like, what was he
no.
doing? Like, what? Yeah, on what planet do you need a magazine at like 2 a.m. or whatever it was?
Didn't have phones back then, bud.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
It's a very valid point.
dude. The magazine stand next to the toilet
if you're
was
stopped
a
up,
staple.
if you're stopped up from oyster dressing, sweet potato casserole, and some turkey,
Are we talking aphrodisiacs?
no, I'm talking about he has to go poop
Oh,
in the middle of the night from all the Thanksgiving goodness.
You just mentioned oysters.
You need an oyster dressing, man.
Well, yeah, okay.
Well, that's how real Southerners eat it. I don't know about you. You didn't even know what a pound of cornbread was.
I-
All right, you ready to go to the 15?
I would love to, Will. Let's hit that music.
And we're back from the 15.
We did not leave.
Yeah,
Like,
we're gonna.
I usually say some say we never left. The YouTube world never sees us leave. We're just still here.
They should. It's just laziness on your part,
Yeah.
really.
And I've mentioned it before. The reason we have the 15 originally, and we did a break and a music bumper and everything, is so that we would get sponsors and we would have an insert area where we would talk about them.
It's called planning.
It was called planning. It's called forecasting. It's called we're going to the moon with this. And then we were very humbled very quickly. Although we did have a. Do you remember when we had a Manscaped?
We had ads for a minute.
We had ads.
No, and Chris got us some ads for a minute.
Yeah. Manscaped, Mountain Valley Water.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's where we put it.
We didn't have Duke's mayonnaise. I really wanted Duke's mayonnaise, and I really wanted Hardee's. Hardee's never worked out, even though we knew the head of innovation.
The vice president for global culinary innovation.
Yes.
All right. This is something
Owen, cheers to you, buddy.
we've not had before. This is something I've been excited to try. This is the Oak series from 2XO, our buddy Dixon Dedmon. And the first one was American Oak, and it was great. $49 American Oak.
Yes, it was great. Lower proof, approachable price point. I actually called Dick. I hadn't had it yet. And it was probably 3 months ago, something like that.
Well, you had it years ago.
Well, I know, but I cracked a bottle. I cracked my one bottle that I bought.
We did it on the show. So
I get
you
it.
Had it.
I cracked my one bottle, and I was like, I was just immediately, I guess, re-surprised.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the most flavorful $40 to $50 bottle that I have owned at a low proof point. I was like, golly, I mean, even a higher proof point. I was shocked.
So this is the French Oak. I've been excited about this one. It's been out, I think, for a minute, but this is the first time I've seen it in our market. It's 92 proof. It was $49.99. I got it at the Bottle Shop in McEwen, if you're from the area. The French Oak blends
liquor store, by the way.
French Oak blends bold notes of coffee and cinnamon, arise from the secondary addition of highly charred French oak introduced towards the end of maturation. The sweeter flavors create a delicately complex balance with the spice notes from the rye in the mash bill. So I love what French oak does to whiskey.
Delicate in a great way. It smells so, like if I was going to say something smelled like peace, like Peace.
I understand.
Not like peace. Like,
no, I got it.
It would smell like this.
Yeah.
Like this would unite countries.
Yeah.
This would be like war is over.
And we should go drink this on the Canadian American border and try to, end the tariff war. And especially because it's French oak, it's not the American oak, so it's not like it's kind of it's a third party neutral country, but the Canadians may think it's a nod to them because French and all.
Okay, well, Will, are you saying that we're not at peace with Canada?
Trade war, economically, no, not at all.
I don't know.
They're
love
threatening
Canadians.
like a nuclear umbrella with France. Think I'm kidding? Read the news.
Read the news. I've seen it. Okay, I have an X account.
I like this.
Okay, I click on the button that says trending.
For me.
Yeah, for me. Oh man, I'm loosey goosey right now, Will.
Oh, okay.
That Weller 107 was so good at the body. We haven't had this in a
Half
minute.
the bottle's still on the bar. It hasn't evaporated yet.
Yeah, no, I'm still looking at it. I would lick it, but I've done that in the past. Not a great experience.
Yeah.
There's lead paint.
And we all know what happened after that.
Yep. Mental institution. Actually, I never went. Just so
One
that
step.
I'm very
One
clear.
step away.
I just need to be very clear
Yeah.
about that.
All right. What do you
Yeah.
think? What do you think of this?
The nose is great. The nose is like, it's just like so soft, kind of floral, but like a deep floral.
Yeah.
Like it's not like a light floral. It's like this has like some robustness to it. I'm not getting the cinnamon aspect on the nose. Did you get it on the palate?
Yeah.
Really? All right.
Very light. Very light.
Yeah.
It's rich. It's got a lot of flavor, but it's
got a little tang to it.
Yeah.
Like a little
sour. Sour apple, maybe.
No, I'm not going to say sour.
Sour doesn't typically infer a good note.
I'm just going to say when you put a tearjerker piece of gum in your mouth
Yeah.
and you're trying to, you love it.
Yeah.
You love it, but you're battling through it. There's a teeny bit of that on this pour. And I will be honest with you. I have two favorite candies. One is tearjerker gum. Two Now and Laters.
Oh.
Do you love Now and Laters?
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, because you eat one piece of candy and you get two experiences. You get the now, and then you get the later. And the later, you're what are these jowls
When
or
you get
like
TMJ from it?
yes,
Yeah, you get
like,
a copay.
There's no moving these. They cannot move.
Yeah. You prefer the now or the later?
Honestly, I do prefer the later.
Oh.
Yeah.
You like pain.
Well, the now is like, super approachable and like complex. But then like the later is just like, this is exactly where I want to be.
Which is your favorite flavor?
It's like going on spring break to Panama City, okay? And the first day you get there, you play miniature golf. You're like, yeah, that's a pretty good base. I feel it, okay? Then you're on the beach with a plentiful cooler, okay? And then people are just like half naked on the beach.
Yeah.
That's where you want to be. That's what the tail end of the now
your
and later
jaw
is like.
getting stuck is what you would. The analogy you're going to use is a cooler full of beer and half naked people on the beach. Is the equivalent to your jaw being fused shut?
Well, I mean, some people might say those hold hands.
You're a sick person, sick freak.
I know. It's
I don't like
fine.
you.
It's totally fine.
All right, what do you think on this?
This is all right. So this is $49.99.
Yeah.
Some places in some states you can get it for $40. I've seen $40. This is hands down the most easiest buy.
Yeah, I think
that
it's a buy.
think I've ever rated, and it's not because we know Dixon. I don't have to say.
Pour that American.
Dude,
I thought you said you just opened it. Did you lie?
I have two.
And I'm calling you out. Oh, where's the other one? Then don't open the one that's.
I don't give a shist. I'm gonna open both of them.
I'm
Am I
trying-
gonna
'cause
sit there? Am I gonna
I-
leave this on the shelf and be like, I ain't opening that? I'm waiting for secondary to take over.
No, I think I like the American better.
I will say this.
I'm gonna do it again.
I will say this. When I tasted the American oak, I was wowed.
Yeah. I wasn't wowed by the
this-
French oak. For $49 though, it's a very solid whiskey.
It's an easy buy at $49.
I think I had really high expectations for it because I love French oak finish stuff. I mean,
It's
think of Maker's 46.
Well, this is
think
both
of-
a fresh crack. We're going to get a really good
Yeah.
go at it, which actually I'm actually excited that I reopened another bottle. Not you know what I mean.
Yeah, I like the American oak better. No?
Nope. I can already tell you
Try
because
it again then.
mid palate,
It's more bitter.
more bitter.
It is more bitter.
Yeah, it's more bitter. Still a great pour.
All right, let me try the French oak.
Still a
again.
great pour, but if we're A-Bing, I'm just saying.
No, you're right.
oui.
No, the French oak's better.
O-U-I-oui.
French oak's better.
That's
Bye.
French for yes. That is.
You're right. You're right. I was mistaken. The French oak is better.
And I'm gonna go as far as this. The French oak is not just one step above; it is two.
2 times above, 2x.
No, I'm just saying like if there's steps
2XO,
on a ladder,
2X
I'm just
over.
saying like you go up 2 steps and you could reach the thing that you're really wanting to reach for. The American oak is solid. Don't get me wrong.
Where's your French?
Right here. Oh, we're gonna open her
Just
up.
like a single drop.
We're gonna open her up, baby.
Just to change that chemistry.
PCB, baby.
Now you're getting the cinnamon.
Really?
Now you get the cinnamon.
I would think that I was gonna get like more honeysuckle. Cinnamon?
Yep.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
So much cinnamon.
Buy it now. Put literally however much you pour. It doesn't matter. It's not about the dilution.
Why did it do
A
that?
single drop of water changes the chemistry. It changes the chemistry.
Well, yeah, because
the way
water,
the molecules.
water is H2O.
But I'm saying
It's on the periodic
no,
table.
but I'm saying the way the molecules interact within the glass, just that single drop, not even like a capful, like literally, I took a straw and I just kind of.
That was like 2 or 3 drops too.
I think it was just one, but you just do a dab.
No, I saw
it's a minuscule amount of water, so you're not really proofing it down.
Listen,
but
it's
the
on
point
video.
of it is
YouTube people, I want you to hit up the comments. Please tell me how many drops of water that thing was distributed into my glass.
Now I'm gonna try.
I counted 2 or 3.
Do the American oak the same way.
All right,
See if it knocks out some of that bitter.
Hit me. Yeah, there was a bitterness to it. But honestly, the first time I had it, the bitterness didn't bother me at all. It's just A-being it.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Like, it's like, yeah, this is so in the pocket. This is so good. It's got an oily taste to it.
It's good, but it still has a bitter note that it once again, if you're
front palate bitter,
if you're A-being it,
like
you
front mid,
you pick up on. You don't necessarily pick up on that with the other way. That's
the thing, dude. If we just had this solo, we wouldn't have picked up on that bitterness.
It was that there was such a lack of it in the French oak. So I'm a big fan of that. Buy French oak, $49. That's a solid price point.
If you had to choose, if you're on the shelf and you see the American and the French oak, I think Will and I would both agree you grab the French oak for the same price. I agree with that.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for this week on the podcast. Go ahead and join us over at patreon.com. We do a town hall and a virtual bar night,
which we're doing tonight.
Yeah, we're doing virtual bar nights where we hang out with you folks and have a great time. We laugh. A couple of weeks ago, it was off the rails. I went home upset, but that's the happiest that most people get is when Breeze is out of his mind.
It's going to be lit tonight because I've got a good bay. I've got a good bay.
Leaving early. All right, folks, we don't know Jack,
but we'll drink it.